If you are looking for something new and different for the upcoming Compliance Week celebration in November, check out The Compliance Kids. It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes. The Compliance Tip of the Day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. Join us as we explore the latest trends from the Department of Justice, share some best practices, demystify complex compliance issues to help keep your organization doing business ethically and in compliance, and at the end of the day, more profitably. Tune in daily for your dose of compliance wisdom. Let's make compliance a little less daunting, one tip at a time. Now a word from the sponsor of the Compliance Podcast Network, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
Today on the Compliance Tip of the Day, we consider assessing and then acting on internal reports thoroughly. The Department of Justice wants to know that companies take reports seriously. This means evaluating the seriousness of allegations promptly and thoroughly. What do you need to have in place? Well, number one, you need a rigorous investigative process. Ensure that all reports are promptly reviewed and assessed for seriousness. This is triage. Develop a standard process for triaging reports based upon the nature and potential impact. This should involve clear guidelines for escalating significant issues to senior management of the board as appropriate. Number two, full access for compliance. The Department of Justice in the 2024 update to the evaluation of corporate compliance programs mandated that compliance have full access to all information. Well, that is particularly true when it comes to having unrestricted access to all reporting and investigative information. Your compliance function must have this. This ensures that investigations are conducted independently without interference, and that the compliance teams can assess trends, identify systemic issues, and recommend corrective actions. And finally, we have a new deadline in place. That's 120 days. Remember that the new Corporate Whistleblower Awards pilot program, as set up by the Department of Justice, has a 120-day deadline from when a reporter speaks up in any manner internally. Companies must fully investigate, then disclose to the DOJ within that time frame to be eligible for a declination. All of this means that there is new and additional pressure on your internal investigative protocol. You need to have this protocol in writing so it can be activated as soon as someone raises their hand and speaks up, goes into a supervisor's office and says something, or you get an internal report on the hotline. It's absolutely critical if you want to put yourself in a position to receive a declination or even a discount on a fine or penalty. As I said in the opening of this podcast, this month's sponsor of the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico, and they've developed a toolkit for middle managers that will help middle managers in intaking information from employees and, equally importantly, understanding how to respond and how to get the information up to compliance for the decision makers. We've linked to this toolkit in our show notes, so check it out at ethico.com. This is Tom Fox again. This new podcast, Compliance Tip of the Day, will appear daily. And frankly, it's one of the most requested topics for a podcast that I get on a regular basis. It's going to be short and sweet with one tip with some takeaways that you can utilize to implement into your compliance program. If you've got a question that you would like a tip on, please submit them through our website, and we will use them in an upcoming episode. The Compliance Tip of the Day is a production of the award-winning Compliance Podcast Network. Finally, this podcast contains promotional materials.